Rowan Atkinson was born on January 6, 1955, in County Durham, England, the youngest of 4 sons in a family that valued discipline, education, and resilience. Growing up on a farm, his childhood was shaped by routine, work, and the quiet beauty of the countryside. The rhythm of farm life instilled in him patience and observation, qualities that would later become central to his craft. While life on the farm seemed structured, Rowan's imagination often drifted beyond the fields. From an early age, he was curious, introspective, and quietly reflective, observing people, movements, and the small absurdities of daily life. These formative years, though calm on the surface, laid the foundation for his creative instincts, nurturing a mind that could notice subtleties others might overlook, a skill that would later define his unique approach to comedy and performance. The challenge of a stutter. Around the age of 5, Rowan began to experience a stutter, making everyday conversation a challenge. While it sometimes made speaking tiring, it also encouraged him to explore other forms of communication. He discovered that he could express himself through gestures, expressions, and movement, often communicating more with his body than with words. Though school interactions were occasionally awkward, Rowan's awareness of nuance and timing grew sharper, and he learned to observe others with empathy. This challenge, rather than defining limitations, quietly shaped his creativity. He developed patience and sensitivity, noticing how small actions could carry meaning. These early experiences with speech difficulties would later inform his comedy, turning what could have been a source of insecurity into a tool for connection, allowing him to craft performances that communicated universally without relying solely on words. Discovering performance. Rowan's first glimpses of relief from his stutter came when performing on stage. In character, his voice seemed freer, and the anxiety that accompanied normal conversation faded. Acting became a safe space where he could experiment with timing, gestures, and personality without judgment. The sense of release he felt while performing contrasted with the pressures of everyday speech, revealing a path he might not have considered otherwise. This early understanding that identity could be flexible and that art could be a form of refuge became central to his approach. The stage offered him a sense of freedom, control, and creativity that ordinary interactions often denied. It was here, amidst rehearsal and audience response, that Rowan's instinct for observation, physicality, and expressive subtlety began to merge into the foundation of his extraordinary comedic voice. Academic excellence. Despite the challenges in social and verbal communication, Rowan excelled academically. From an early age, he displayed sharp intelligence, particularly in mathematics and science, subjects that rewarded logic and analytical thought over verbal ease. His dedication to learning reflected both personal discipline and family expectations. After finishing school, Rowan attended Newcastle University to study electrical and electronic engineering, a field that demanded rigor, precision, and problem-solving. While this path seemed conventional and practical, it also provided a structure within which Rowan's creativity could continue to develop quietly. Even in technical environments, he sought opportunities for performance, humor, and experimentation. His academic journey shows a balance of intellect and imagination, revealing a young man capable of mastering complex systems while nurturing the spark of creativity that would later define his professional life. Oxford. A turning point. Rowan's time at the Queen's College, Oxford, marked a crucial turning point in both his academic and creative life. While pursuing a master's degree and beginning doctoral research, he discovered an environment rich in intellectual and cultural stimulation. Oxford offered him exposure to theatre, comedy, and collaborative projects, allowing him to explore the intersection of intellect and performance. He joined the Drama Society and a student review group, where his comedic instincts flourished. It was here that Rowan met Richard Curtis, beginning a collaboration that would influence his career profoundly. Among peers, he transformed from a reserved, technically minded student into a performer who could captivate with movement, expression, and timing. Oxford provided both the tools and the freedom to experiment, nurturing the distinctive style of comedy that would eventually captivate global audiences. Embracing physical comedy. From the start, Rowan displayed an extraordinary instinct for physical comedy. Influenced by legends like Buster Keaton and Jacques Tati, he studied movement, timing, and facial expression with precision. His humor relied less on words and more on the subtle absurdities of body language. creating performances that transcended language and culture. This approach allowed him to communicate directly with audiences, transforming ordinary gestures into moments of laughter. Physical comedy also offered a safe way to engage, allowing Rowan to channel energy and emotion without relying solely on speech. Through meticulous practice, observation, and experimentation, he developed a craft that was at once expressive and controlled. It was a form of storytelling that spoke universally, laying the groundwork for the almost wordless characters that would later make him a global icon. Early recognition. Rowan's first significant exposure outside university came at the Edinburgh Festival Fringe in 1976 with the Oxford Revue. His style, unconventional and experimental, divided audiences but drew the attention of critics and industry insiders. Some struggled to understand his approach, while others recognized the originality and discipline underlying his performances. These early experiences, though challenging, helped Rowan refine his craft and build resilience. He learned to adapt to audience response, collaborate with other performers, and embrace his unique comedic voice. The Fringe offered him both a testing ground and a platform, allowing experimentation without the immediate pressures of mainstream success. These formative years solidified his understanding that comedy could be both precise and playful, demanding control while allowing freedom of expression. Equals creating an iconic character. In 1990, Rowan introduced the character that would define his career worldwide. Relying largely on physical comedy and minimal speech, the character resonated across cultures and languages. This role allowed him to communicate universally, turning subtle expressions and carefully timed movements into a global language of humor. The character's simplicity belied the precision required, with each gesture, facial expression, and pause carefully calibrated for maximum comedic effect. Its appeal was instant, making Rowan a household name around the world. Ironically, this character mirrored his early struggles with speech, demonstrating how challenges can be transformed into creative strength. It also highlighted his genius in translating personal experiences into universally relatable humor, creating a performance that delighted audiences while remaining deeply personal and authentic. Balancing work and life. Despite fame, Rowan maintained a relatively private personal life, marrying and raising children with care and discretion. Over time, he became selective in his projects, balancing artistic ambition with personal well-being. He recognized the physical and emotional demands of performance and sought ways to sustain creativity without overextending himself. Animated adaptations and occasional appearances allowed him to continue his iconic work while preserving energy and focus. This approach reflected maturity, self-awareness, and commitment to long-term sustainability. Rowan's career illustrates that enduring success often depends not just on talent, but on conscious choices regarding balance, health, and priorities. By navigating fame thoughtfully, he preserved both his creative vitality and personal life, ensuring that his contributions to comedy remained impactful and enduring. Courage and humanity. Beyond comedy, Rowan has demonstrated courage and thoughtfulness in real-world situations. He has spoken on freedom of expression, the importance of respectful dialogue, and the value of composure under pressure. These actions reflect a person grounded in principle, capable of thoughtful reflection, and able to act with calm in challenging circumstances. This dimension of his life complements his on-screen personas, showing a man who applies observation, patience, and empathy not only to performance, but to everyday life. His story demonstrates that true resilience encompasses both creativity and character, blending professional discipline with personal integrity. Through his career and actions, Rowan has consistently shown how humor, intelligence, and humanity can coexist, enriching the lives of those around him. Reflecting on a life in comedy. As Rowan Atkinson reached his 70th birthday, fans celebrated not only his iconic characters, but the journey behind them. His work continues to reach new generations, demonstrating the enduring power of well-crafted comedy. Yet Rowan himself emphasizes balance over legacy, carefully selecting projects that align with his personal and creative values. His life story illustrates adaptation, persistence, and transformation. Learning to navigate challenges, turning vulnerabilities into strengths, and using observation and discipline to create art. For audiences, he is a source of laughter and delight. For himself, he remains a thoughtful, evolving individual. Rowan's journey reminds us that success is as much about resilience, creativity, and authenticity as it is about recognition, leaving a legacy of both inspiration and humanity.